How's it going, everybody? It's man Jamal here. Thank you for coming through. We're gonna talk about this concept once again because you got to keep stomping this concept out until it is no longer valid within this space. It doesn't matter how non-defined something is. You're gonna still end up having the same problem over and over again because you have to realize that this incredibly flawed concept is at the root of most things that happen with not only within this place space, but Black America. Period. It's going on, game changer. Like, like with the game shit. Like they want to reserve the right to not be well defined, but want to operate around people who are well defined. So you have to realize if everybody practice the same level of non-defined state within a space, you will have 100 different types of standards within the environment. Now we know, like other groups of people, they do have their version of what it is, but the version of what it is not practiced in-house on its own people. That's kind of the difference between what they do within their spaces and what we do within our space. I mean, we have a track record. We have the results of the concept. It's all around us. Dudes flashing money, dudes jumping out the window over avatar chicks, dudes showing their level of competitiveness when it doesn't really need to be. These are the type of things that happen when you don't have things clearly defined. This is why you have different iterations of the manosphere itself. 1.0 had a concept, 2.0 wanted to monetize it, 3.0 was talking about having some standards about how to acquit yourself within the environment, and 4.0 is the catch-all reversion of everybody else not following simple and basic and specific directions. What's going on, Mike V? What's going on, Game Changer, if I didn't say that already? But you have to realize they want to come to a place based on something specific and try to turn it into something generalized on some clout nonsense. But you have to understand that within the Black community, clout and the look of appeal to women is an actual currency. Now, it's too bad that you can't spend this currency anywhere within America, not even the Black community, but there's a whole lot of things that are destroyed within the process when you have this particular type of concept running rampant and wild within the society and life. Like today, you had a bunch of people going Ramil Amir stream, shout out to him. Every single person who came on brought their own definition to a defined concept to the table. And no matter what it was, when somebody brought it to the table, it all meant something different to every single person who used the concept. Now, you can't go anywhere in the world and try to make a word so universal. The only way that you can make a word that universal is that if there's deceit or ill intentions behind the word. This is why they always say it's a way of life. How many doctors claim that they got game? A doctor, very specific set of education, very specific set of board requirements, very specific level of continuing education that you need to remain that specific thing. You see, I never heard of well accomplished, well defined people in the field call themselves that they have game. That would lessen the actual accomplishment of being a doctor if one claimed that they had game. Again, we can go to an attorney. Very specific level of education needed. Depend on how you placed and how you ranked within your graduating class of the prestige of the school that you graduated from. That is going to determine where you work at after you are in school. Very specific, very defined. But see, the power and the strength of this word is that it is not defined. And that's kind of the problem. Because they want to bring the way that they appeal to an uncultured woman and try to spread that out among everything else in society and life. When we know full well the way that you lessen or lesser yourself to this person within the environment makes sure and certain that you're not operating as a man because they don't respect men. They respect what a man produces, but they don't respect the man at all. We know that. So we can't come around here with this concept of game when we know full well that it's all about women. They want to keep the word not defined. This is how you get the Mago class hiding behind the word game when they ain't got no real intangible accomplishments. You have never seen me come to the point to where I have to flash money to anybody in this space. You've never seen the point to where I have to brag on what kind of women they got access to anybody within this space. You have never heard me say within the same environment that other Black men operate that I don't go through the same levels of disrespect when it comes to this particular female, regardless of what game that I have even before I open my mouth. You would never hear me say that. You would never hear me deliberately lie to try to hide the faults and failures of a potential female in this environment because I specifically got sexual access to them. I would never do anything like that. What's going on, SKC? And every time, since he's here, SKC asks the question, what is the outcome and the benefits of game? Here's what the outcome and the benefits of game is. It's an empowered woman within the society and the environment. Because a man with independent accomplishments don't run back to a woman who don't respect him as a level and a measure of accomplishment within the environment. No society and culture does that. I call these game dudes poison ivy farmers. Now, obviously, poison ivy is a poisonous bush. You know what happens when you get near it. And pretty much whenever you see a bush like that that grows up, it's normally around berries, but it actually exists in a whole lot of other frameworks. But you try to get rid of this plant as soon as possible because you don't want to see this obvious thing that doesn't produce anything good to actually be part of this garden where everything else is supposed to be produced. Well, Charles, you have to understand what it's about. Game is about the finessing of getting access to something that you normally wouldn't get access to if you've done things the proper way. Actually, SKC, game is not about benefiting the whole of black men at all. It's about celebrating the fact that you got yours, screw everybody else. And they're not going to deal with the consequences or the results of what they did to get the actual predetermined result of what they're getting. That's why this cuts at the very core of what black men is within this space and within black America. Because most people don't want to put the proper time in to get a specific result. So they want to take shortcuts to get there. And they bring the level of how they would actually deal with a female and take it to other environments where it's not needed. Yeah, Mike, game on trial. Like we talked about. I want them all on trial. Game Genie, Game Stop, I don't care. Come and defend this game of yours. So you have to understand why this concept have to be destroyed. Your life is not supposed to revolve around entertainment. Entertainment is about consuming something within the environment for everybody's enjoyment around you. You have to understand this concept needs to be destroyed because they don't police the concept. You don't understand that game is a level of deception, an art of constant deception. That makes you act in such a way so that way you can get a predetermined result out of the next person. This is why in other cultures you can't use game all that much. Things are pretty much well defined. And the reason why they have these type of safeguards in society is to safeguard the entire concept of society in whole. So if everybody comes to a specific situation and everybody brings their own definition of success to a situation, what are you going to get? You're going to get chaos. That's exactly what it is, Charles Merchant. It is the honor code of thieves. So you have to realize that, look, imagine if we was talking about the specific sport of football. And you have different people on the football field. They have different jobs on the football field when they're on there. Imagine what the football game would look like if there was no flags and no penalties, but you still had to play the game of football anyway. What would that game look like without structure, bases, and rules? What would it look like? You see, that's actually what game is. Operating without boundaries. So everybody else can put up with your lack of standards. That's what game is. And that's why everybody who shows up to a specific situation has their own, NFL blitz. That's exactly what it would turn into. Very good game, by the way. So it's like you gotta have things specified in order within an environment to make things work. And that's what this environment turns into. And then you have the nerve of the same people who destroyed everything in the past coming back to claim that they're somehow community minded, that they're good with quote unquote women, that they ain't got no problems that everybody else have with the same level of people in the same environment, under the same government. This is at the heart of dishonesty for black men, claiming that you have this particular concept. Because game doesn't want to be purposefully identified under a microscope. Game don't want you to examine his track record. Game wants you to believe his mouthpiece over tangible reality and facts within the environment. That's what this heart of deception nonsense is about. This is why they want the right to act the way they want to act without any level of consequences associated with it. Like today, when a person super chatted Ramil and he said that he lost $1,000, and they was like, man, look, I'm like, no, man, you need to take that dude to court and get your money back. You don't let nobody scam you out of money, bro. Because if you set the actual track record within the environment that a person who can hustle somebody out of money gets no consequences, you get more of that within the same environment. So that means that that individual who practiced that level of non-standards somehow got to come up off the non-standard and face no consequences for it. You see, this is what this stuff turns into. This is why you have to constantly track and examine the track record of the people who claim they got game. There's a specific way to get specific places. Game is about skipping all the steps and looking like you're at the finish line when you haven't even ran the race yet. You are not going to get the checkered flag without running the race. Some other person's level of deception is not going to work for you in the same situation. The point is, most of these people are selling deception, subjective deception to a very specific situation. That's the problem here. So you have to understand, if everybody is hiding behind this concept and nobody's really not defining anything straightforwardly, you have 100,000 different levels and types of standards that's being practiced in the same environment. So how are you supposed to get something specific when everybody's practicing everything that's generalized? And then you got the people who are the beneficiaries of these non-standards trying to come back and tell you how much they care about the environment that they assisted in destroying. And they want to be at the helm of trying to fix the actual situation that they destroyed. This is why I don't believe pro-blacks, people who claim they're community-minded or focused, or 99% of these females, for the exact same reason. It is subjective deception onto a specific situation. A person who claims he got game and he's 6'6", the same level of stuff is not going to happen for you if you 5'5". Even though they're going to try to make it look like you can clearly try most of that stuff. So you have to understand that, okay, what are the cultural implications of this? The cultural implications of this is that everybody within the same environment is trying to knife each other in the back. You cannot work together because everybody, thanks to the level of things that they got themselves into before because of game. The game dudes are taking losses. There ain't no game dudes running nothing around here. The game dudes are trying to make it look like everything's fine. Come into a specific environment called the manosphere to build an audience to actually please the same level of women that everybody's actually talking about within the same environment. What's going on, Ramil? Okay, so how many unwanted kids are born because of game? Let's get to that for a second. How many unwanted kids are born because of game? Game is the actual structure of game, which is empowering the woman to choose the actual lesser man. Like, what happens when all of these dudes get pumped and dumped within the environment? Now we got a community full of a whole bunch of kids that these women shittily fucking raise. Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that type of shit, do we? And these unwanted kids within this framework can't compete within the environment with the other kids that are raised in far better environments without game. You see, all game isn't created equal. That's why you need a specific definition of what we're talking about here. Because we got the results of a black race in a community that's based on nothing but game. And then you got the same ghouls who come over, fill these kids' head full of insecurities, and then they sell them subjective deception. Don't worry about it, young man. All the problems within your life is going to be solved once you get access to this resource. A resource that has done nothing for them. I will, SKC. So you have to realize how we got all this game, but nobody is focused on the outcomes of the kids of the game that was born into the game, that are not being in well-defined two-parent households where family planning is involved. So you mean to tell me that most of the part of the game is to destroy the black race because that's what we got? That is exactly what we have right now. And while we're on the same subject of the kids who actually made it through the birth process, let's talk about the kids that didn't make it through the birth process. That good old-fashioned thing called the abortion rate. Yeah. I guess the abortion rate is so high because of game too, right? Where we at, 20 plus million? That's a higher number than 3 Holocausts in Germany. That's the track record of game right there. People who mouthpiece their way into a situation, and the woman didn't want to keep their child, so they decided to go and get an abortion. Now, I don't blame Planned Parenthood. I blame the people who created the child, you know, the people with the so-called game and the woman in these circumstances, unless it was rape or incest or some other shit that they didn't have control over. I blame those people. That's the outcome of game two. You know what another outcome of game is? People not really wanting to hire nor fuck with black men in the work environment. Why? Because we always so pussy focused and shit. And we're willing to lie, cheat, and steal for some of those people to get into a position. These game dudes are not a brand ambassador for black men. They are a brand detriment to black men. These dudes with the so-called game that they want to broaden to mean every other facet in life. Let me skip to something today that people don't realize. Can child support payers really claim that they got game? Can anybody on child support claim that they got game? Oh, okay. So you get game after you done created a household that you don't run. Oh, okay. So you gonna make this unsubstantiated claim about game after your ass get taken to the cleaners by a woman that you claim you ran. How can you claim you got game if that's the case? You see, this is why you got to police the terms that you use. Because when you don't police the terms that you use, and it becomes so broadly defined that any person comes up with the actual concept and tries to personalize it. I would not want to be associating myself with the word game. It's nearly impossible and crazy to think that I would associate myself with the results of this so-called game. There is no real rationale for a person within this environment to claim that they got game and that you need game to interact with women within this environment. No, you need game to interact with women who are no longer women within the environment. That's what game is actually used for. Making it look like she's getting a deal that she can't refuse, so she can end up taking your dumb ass to child support court later the fuck on. If game and the dudes who practice it had a better track record, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Look at the influx of abject reptiles who then came to the manosphere on this game shit. Older dudes on this game bullshit. And they got all this smoke for tricks, but no smoke for pimps, no smoke for the abortion rate, no smoke for the outcome of the black boys within the environment. And they're going to keep being redefined by the women who's putting them through all this shit. But they got game, though. They got game on their side. While they sitting here abjectly bullshitting every single person who they talking to. This is why I say the trick is winning. I'm not one, but I'm definitely not going to spend no dime and no time on none of these motherfuckers around here. I fully endorse getting what you can get out of it on a one-to-one basis and getting out of there. Because these dudes who claim they got game, bro, they doing a whole lot of free advertising for next to no reason. So you mean to tell me a dude who done paid for a chick that he didn't want to earn and he's out of there somehow get less respect from a dude who's paying child support, some of these dudes, to multiple women within the same environment? But we ain't got no smoke for the pimp, though. That's what I'm saying. When you black pill, you could just look at this stuff and just make a character assessment and keep it moving. This is why this stuff, it is, yeah. Listen, man, if you only want that side of jambalaya from Popeyes, there is no need to buying the French Quarter meal to get it. If if you only want a piece of this experience, because the only piece of this experience that you are interested in, you can just walk up, get that, and leave. Dude, that's a win for you. You ain't even got to worry about doing this kind of stuff over and over again like they do, because these claims are unsubstantiated. I could see if they had tangibles to show. And here's the thing. Even if you could show tangibles of a bad concept, it's still a bad concept. It's an undefined concept that has taken a lot of these dudes and destroyed their level of productivity within the environment. And they know they're broken deep down inside, but they want to claim victory from the jaws of abject defeat from the same women that they claim they're running within the environment. That's what don't make sense to me. And I don't think it's worthwhile even talking to them. It's their concept. Show me that you're winning through this so-called game of yours. Because I know what the abortion rate is. I can see the outcome of the black boys in this environment. I can see this stuff. I don't need to hide behind a word so that way I can have some level of accomplishment within society by just lying about it. And I tell you this, you need to be aware of the game and how these people move within the environment. Because having an awareness of dishonesty within the environment does not mean that you need to engage in the same things that you're trying to be aware of. You can be aware that going into a lion's cage is a bad idea. You don't need to practice and check to see if going into a lion's cage is a bad idea. That's the difference of being aware of game and actually being around people who's subjected to game and the people who use game. Because I'm just saying this, I like being in orderly and structured environments. I like to be paid back on a one-to-one basis. I ain't got no time for nobody's slick talking and thinking they about to get some shit out of me. I ain't got time for that. Not for a man and not for a woman. The reason why the women like the game dudes is because they get to pump and dump the dudes. And the dudes are willing to do anything for sexual gratification. So that's a kind of win-win for both people. But then there's the outcomes and the results of society that don't nobody want to deal with. That's the part of the game that don't nobody want to talk about. But that is where we are at in society right now. Everybody want to bring this concept along for the ride when it clearly don't belong here. That's the way I truly see it, man. So I'm going to open up the panel. Hold on a second while I open up the panel here. Talk about this for like another hour, then I got to get up out of here. I got to go home. I'm in Kansas City right now. I'm on my way to Colorado Springs, and then I'm going to go to back home, Then I'm probably chill out and leave Sunday morning, or that's the plan right now. Who knows? So let me get this link in the chat so that way we could be able to discuss this actual issue and topic. Because here's the problem, man. If the boomer generation and the older generation X did this for actual people within the environment, none of these people would have any sort of actual relevance within the society right now. You would already know not to trust these dudes when it comes to anything. You wouldn't even need to trust them. So the link's in the chat for people who want to come up. I'm gonna go get me some water real quick, and then we'll come back and discuss this actual issue and topic along the lines of what I discussed. Keep it on topic, or I'm gonna have to get your ass up off the panel, and that's what we're gonna do out here. So, hold on a second. All right, there we go. All right, I'm back. Hey, if y'all could be able to hear me, press one. I just changed to another device. All right, that's what's up. Hey, SKC, man, the link's in the chat, man. Come on up. I'm not sure if some people came up in the last 5 minutes and just left. Or maybe I got this password shit on here. Let me see. Now, there ain't no password on there, so come on up if y'all want to discuss the topic. If not, I could just roll on out, man. Lead this as a standalone thing. Oh, okay. So y'all have to realize, man, that within this environment, you have to take an academic look at what actually is going on within this environment, because this stuff has broad ranging implications and consequences that don't nobody really want to discuss for some reason. But most of this stuff and the outcome of what's going on within this environment is truly based on the fact that all these people are practicing the same type of thing within the same environment. And that's kind of what the issue and the problem is here. But for some reason, they don't understand how a non clearly defined subject or topic can really hold a lot of people hostage to something that they have no interest in upholding. This is why it's very important to define things. And, let's say if we did like a little pit stop, like in the '80s, and see how far this cooperating with these women under these circumstances actually have gone so far since the '70s, we would be in a better position right now. Because really, there was, Oprah and all the other people kind of destroying the image. Well, there was really no immediate pushback. And you had the people who were chosen within the environment to help them build what we have right now within the environment. So you got those level of dudes. Because like most black men's level of acceptance of self starts with being accepted by this woman within this environment. And I think that's crazy. This is how you have such the low bar within this environment of women actually speaking for men's rights and issues. Simply because the bar is so low. And it's really not even too many black women who do it. And whenever they actually do it within the same environment, it seems hollow and crass compared to the point of not even trying to get their own gender together. They just want to skip to the fact of trying to tell men that they understand what we think and feel and shit. So so that's where I'm at with it. I'm like, well, how could you possibly be talking about this issue if the only thing you could do is pretty much agree with what's wrong with the environment without trying to change your gender? Because I estimate that there's going to be a lot more women within this environment popping up, acting like they feel our pain on some Bill Clinton shit. And this is why you have to properly be able to evaluate people who can come along within the environment and just do these things. Because at the end of the day, we are the commodity here. They know how people have been sexually starved within this environment. I mean, there are people who quite honestly think that the woman that Dwayne Wade married before they even married her was somehow some type of good looking fucking woman. Like, no, she had a basic average fucking body type in an environment where the body type isn't so fucking average. And that's the type of shit I'm talking about, man. What's going on with that, James? Oh, I don't see a microphone for you, so I'm not even sure what's going on there. I've never seen that before. But yeah, but this is what's going on within the environment, man. And this is how come you can't get tangibles within this environment. Because if people are only rewarded with sexual access based on being an abject, fuck nigga, then that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a bunch of that. And it's like they don't understand the broad ranging consequences behind how this shit actually works. Because if these dudes are not, damn, the same thing with him too. Hold on a second. Oh, Mike, what's going on, man? You're muted. I don't know what's up with this Des James guy.
Yo, what's going on, MOT?
Oh, nothing much, man. It's just that we got this non-defined concept within the space that's being thrown around by nearly everybody, but they know what's at the beginning of the concept. The beginning of the concept is it starts with a certain class of woman because you don't need game to get an actual feminine woman. I don't know anybody within this environment like dude, it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, dude, like the standards are too low, and by the time you get to these boys, they're already too messed up because they grew up within these environments. So they actually think that appealing to this actual person is the standard of masculinity because that's where the means of production is within that actual framework. It's being liked or loved by these actual people. And it's like, damn, that's bad, bro. God, that's bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the the global benchmark, you know, the criteria for masculinity is based on performance. And but if you can't perform, then what else you're gonna have left is just guys looking for female validation as a whole. And when you ask for what the return on investment is, they're like, well, she validates me. She chose me. Yeah, that's all you can have. But where we're moving to in this society, especially in the next 24 months, that validation is not going to have any sort of value at the end of the day. And
Oh
so
no.
a lot of these young black males are starting to, I noticed the on the brain trust, we've had a surge of millennial and zennial signups from the analytics. So before it was Gen X was the leading sort of subscriber base for constituency for the brain trust. In the last since COVID, people have been the millennials and the zennials have been signing up. And what they look at is all the tech talks and the economics hangouts. They like that stuff. And so I think what we're starting to see now is that the game is starting to it's not having the same impact on the millennials and zennials that it used to have maybe a year or so ago. They're starting to
Yeah.
look at this and they're saying, you know what, this is not for me. This is not something that is going to be of benefit to me. And so they're starting to come to this channel. They're starting to go to the brain trust. They're starting to read more. They want to get into trucking now. They want to get into the cannabis and the tech stuff. The game there is no game that's going to get you to that point. And so game could only go so far with these guys. And they're saying, well, after the women, then what?
Yeah. I mean, it's like this. They already get access to the women without so-called game because they're in the actual age range where these women are at.
Yeah.
So it's like, like as they get more and more miles on them, they are not going to appeal to them anymore. And that's
Mhm.
where game kind of comes in at because game is about not having standards.
Yeah.
Because if these dudes could be showing off 10 out of 10s, they clearly would be doing that. But they clearly are not doing that. And we know what the demographics of the environment is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we know on average who's going to be the beneficiary of this so-called game. We already know that.
Yeah, there's going to be a gamers rebellion at some point.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's going to be a gamers rebellion, kind of like Bacon's rebellion. But instead of guys out in the street, going with sickles and hammers and stuff, you're going to start to see people start to retaliate more against some of these the deceptors.
Yeah.
The deceptors are basically have been playing 3-card Molly in the community for all this time, and now during COVID, people are starting to see that this really does not make any sense.
You want to know why, Mike? Because they finally had enough time to sit around and actually think about the stuff they're actually getting into.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And actually seeing that your job just go poof. You don't have any real job prospects out there.
Mm-hmm.
It started making you start to gravitating toward those environments where people are actually doing something.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean,
how far I got right now, and I'm not even advertising on my channel. I'm not even using anything to boost my channel, even though I've done plenty of research on how. So what do you think would happen if I were to start doing that? And I'm not trying to get any of these other people's audiences. I'm trying to build a whole new another audience, nothing but dudes who's trying to move forward.
mhm.
This is why I pretty much don't go in those other environments for the most part, because I don't care what's there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to move this forward and black men forward based on the original kind of motivation of the manosphere, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We haven't even turned it up. We haven't really gone all the way with all the with all the the ability to actually expand the network. Once we start getting into all that stuff, it's gonna be a game changer for all intents and
Yeah.
purposes. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is these people who are selling algorithms and strategies to deal with women, that's going to come to an end, just like Game Shark and Game Genie. Once
Yeah.
the Xbox came along and the DVD sort of consoles came along, there was no market for that anymore. You couldn't use cartridge-based cheat mechanisms to advance anymore. That doesn't work. That doesn't work
Yeah.
anymore.
And I'm not sure what you noticed, but when Xbox first started off, you had sites set up selling other people's game saves in order to get them Xbox achievement points and shit.
Oh yeah.
And they end up shutting that shit down too by making it specific to your account, the actual game save.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, look, all methods of cheating this actual system is going to end up disappearing.
Yeah,
one
absolutely.
way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where we are right now. The guys who used to use the hack keys for Windows XP, that doesn't work in Windows 8 and Windows 10.
No, I don't.
Now that doesn't work anymore. You can't use those hack keys anymore, man. The days are over. Them days are over. And that's what these guys are running into. The resistance. See, last year it was cool to try to sell games, but during COVID this year, people were starting to see, why am I giving my money to certain content creators to sell me an algorithm that doesn't go anywhere?
And now you got these people actually teaming up together where they never teamed up before. They always kind of stayed off in their own little kind of box, but now they're out teaming up and doing streams together to kind of bring the shit back. And it's like, dude, this shit is still on borrowed time. It's still on borrowed time.
The game coalition?
Yeah.
It's kind of like NATO.
Yeah. It's like the United States of game.
It can only go so far with this, man. Game is not, I mean, for the sort of audience that you would have to sell that to, you're talking about a very small minority within a minority of people. You can't say that the slaves had game because they took a whipping from the slave master. That doesn't resonate very well with people in this sector, man. You can't sell that.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, you would think they would get better people to represent game better. But it's like, once you let too many people get in too far, then it turns into a clown show. Like listen, there's only a finite amount of people who can say that they're affiliated with the Black Brain Trust.
Right.
Now, you wouldn't see any of people who was affiliated with the Black Brain Trust going off, sectioning off and doing some game shit. They would be kicked out the group immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, we had one person who tried to misrepresent the Black Brain Trust on another channel, and we had a long conversation offline with him. A very simple process of dealing with deceptors. And so, and I heard one of these game guys say, Hitler had game because he was able to, use pylon. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you,
Wow.
they're really out there. They're really out there with it. Hitler had game, and the Jews had game because they sat in those ghettos and they waited for the Nazi army to fall. When the Soviets showed up, and then they took advantage and they got out of it. I mean, it's just all sorts of connotations that they're trying to connect game to. China had game. They started manufacturing American goods, and then they copied it, and then they sold it back to us, and that was game, right?
Oh my God.
The Viet Cong had game because they dug these trenches and these tunnels underground, and then they led the Americans down into these tunnels, and they trapped them in.
Yeah. I mean, the Japanese had Pearl Harbor game. They flew two planes in, they bombed the shit out of the goddamn vessel, and it sunk on the fucking shores. So technically, they'd use game to fly on the middle of a goddamn day where radar wasn't working, and they bombed the shit out of something. So it's like, if everything is game and anything is game, then game don't fucking exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a question. Out of all those things that they're describing, is that somehow relating back to the subjective form of deception?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it is.
Okay, so now a lot of the things that were mentioned, that's wartime. So are you operating in a state of wartime amongst your own people?
Yes. Yep. SKC is worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are you operating in a state of war, you haven't been told because you're on that island that the war has been over.
Well, I have a counter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I actually believe that a lot of individuals need game then.
No.
Because,
they need the hope of game working in order to function.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think they need it because if the strategy for your life and everything that you've ever known was subjective deception, then you need it in order to operate because you're not going to go into areas that operate differently because your OS doesn't work in those environments. So
Correct.
You need game in order to survive in the environment that you want to stay in.
Yeah, I mean, it's DOS kernel game.
Oregon Trail game.
Yeah, ping pong game.
Mm-hmm.
Duck hunt game. Yeah, I mean, so you're right. So it's like they can't live without the strategy because their whole life is based on having this shit around. It's game is like a Green Lantern ring. They create all these fuckery-based constructs with it, and once they pull the ring off, they can't fly. They can't do a goddamn thing without the ring on.
What's interesting is that this was brought up yesterday, but I'm bringing it up again on our New Stars panel. The Cosby Show had an episode with Sammy Davis Jr. on there, and the crux of the episode was that Sammy Davis Jr. didn't know how to read, and so he had other people do things for him in order to get around that, and he used "quote unquote" game to deceive as a form of deception to get people to do things for him, like read his horoscope in the newspaper and fill out job applications and stuff. That's what these guys are selling. I mean, although it was just an episode on a sitcom, that's exactly what they're selling is this sort of I don't really know how to do things, but I'll get somebody else to do it for me, and then I'll be successful that way. But how long can you really push that agenda for? Right? How long can that strategy really work? I mean, nowadays, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, man, you can't really fill out a job application at all.
Oh, not at all. Not ever. Not with anything.
No, you couldn't fake, moving 21 gears in a clutch on a rig.
Oh, no.
I mean, now, yeah, you can go buy a new rig now, a Volvo, and then it has automatic transmission.
Yeah.
But you
and
still
you end up on the side of the road, like most of them are.
but this strategy that is coming to an end. I mean, this isn't the 1970s and the 1980s where you can kind of run that deception game against people and they don't really realize what's going on. No. So in cybersecurity, we call it social engineering.
Well, Mike.
Yes, sir.
But there's beauty in it. How many people have lived to see the downfall of a civilization or to see a death of a star?
You mean like the Soviet Union collapse in 1991?
Yeah.
That's game?
No, I'm just saying. If people now, some Black people living now will see the end of it. They are going to see the collapse of a community or communitize it with.
Yeah.
No, and see, that's the thing. Where we're moving to, other external factors are going to help accelerate that process. And the game is not going to work anymore. I mean, they just talked about this yesterday on the news that the United States government has a food insecurity issue. You can't game your way through that. You can't. I mean, okay, you can stand outside of a Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme and with a cup and beg for a change or something like that. I mean, these guys are talking about filling up cups of hot water with ketchup packets and pepper and creating tomato soup. That's game.
Yeah, it's like, Mike, look, most people don't understand that we have plant, spray, and rake and watch grow farmers. They're not out there working that fucking land like that, man.
No.
They're not out there working that land like that, like it's the 1800s.
No.
No, they're not out there doing that.
They
And
got John Deere tractors.
yeah, and it's like you can only plant or even grow a finite amount of food that way. That's why in most places, even now, that you still don't find chicken on the shelves all that much because it's a very bloody and nasty ass fucking process. And the only people who didn't face an actual downfall at all was some of these clean kill places that done everything automatically that don't need actual hands-on to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that's the future of where the shit is going, especially after this COVID shit. Dude, a lot of those actual processing facilities are popping up all over the country right now because there was only like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah. Where's the game strategy to defeat, child support?
Yeah, I mean, but they're in charge of these women though. They're so good at them that they keep losing to them. I mean, are they losing on purpose? Is that the game too?
What are they, like HR managers or something like that? Human resources?
Yeah. They're just town criers of the game.
You asked a question earlier where you said, how many children have come out of game?
Yeah.
And I have to.
20 million died. 20 million died, to be quite honest.
And I have to add a qualifier to that. How many broken children have come out of game? Oh,
shit. Well, I guess the actual other question is how many functional children came out of game?
Right.
So is game really there to create men who are not going to be able to function within the environment? Like hold up.
and then you have individuals that are set on making a fortune off of that dysfunction because they know that those individuals have never had to work within an environment of, things like, I don't know, trust, honesty, standards, principles. And when they can't deal with the greater society or just the world in general, then they need therapy.
Yeah. And then they go back to the stuff that they're actually good at, which is pretending that they have game. Because game only works as long as you don't leave the environment where game is the only currency. Like you can't transfer street cred into actual money. Like there is no exchange rate.
Yeah.
for street cred and game into actual tangible results. There's
Wait,
no
you
transfer rate.
can't trade swag in for Bitcoin.
No, man, that's
No,
you
no.
need actual.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe you could trade enough, like a lot. Like the bread lines in Germany, like a whole wheelbarrow full of like individual strags. You know what I'm saying? To get to get fed, but I don't understand how that would work.
But they've expanded the concept and the construct to include everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you went to court and you beat that traffic ticket. That's game.
Well, of course, Mike, because
Mhm.
in any type of deception,
Mhm.
if you don't have a hard definition of something, that adds to the deception.
Yes.
So
Yes.
definitions in its whole is something I told way back in the day, Amiri. I was like, dude, and what's his name? Gab. It's like, man, there are no firm definitions within the community.
Mhm.
Anything can be whatever you want it to be. And that's why you have a lot of people that will come on panels and they'll say what something is to them, or they'll
Yes.
give their personalized life story about a particular subject that's being discussed, as if that's the standard.
Yeah, I mean, from a cybersecurity standpoint, game is just social engineering. That's
Yeah.
all it
Oh,
is. A phishing attempt. They sent you an email that looked like something and it really wasn't, and you clicked on the link, and all of a sudden your system is compromised. That's
yeah.
all.
I mean, what it is it's a Nigerian email scandal by actual niggas in America. Hey, I am a king. I live in this community. If you give me $1, I will give you back 5,000 crowns.
Yes.
So much game.
Yeah. Game genies. I mean, that's what these guys are, man. But how it's going to come to a point where people who have been gamed are going to come back and they want restitution. And what are you going to do to that? What are you going to say to that?
Because a lot of these people are getting their life messed up. Like I'm going to talk about something like next week about a guy who tried all this shit, got a rotation, ended up getting 2 kids pregnant. That dude lives fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And I'm like, okay, so why didn't you go back to the manufacturer of the person who told you this shit? They're like, oh, he didn't want to talk to me. I'm like, dude, I told you, this shit is entertainment. You're not supposed to practice entertainment in your personal life, not without sufficient evidence that this shit works. And it's like, what's gonna get these guys in a lot of trouble? It's like they don't have air on their pamphlets or on their site. It's like this is for entertainment purposes only. You're not supposed to try this shit at home. But they're all about trying this shit within your personal life. And that's just gonna get them fucked up out here.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have one more question before I get up out of here, man. Maybe you and Mike can answer this for me. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. Anybody, live however you want to live or whatever. I have no issue with that. I'm not trying to create beefs and all that other stuff. But the question is, if a person is outright telling me, hey, I will do and say whatever to get between these hoes' legs, and I ask them why, and they say, well, that's because that's what I want, and that's how it is, just part of the game, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why would I ever trust you in business? Because wouldn't you operate under the same model of you just want my money, so you would do and say anything just to get over?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's the same level of metrics. It's the same thing, and it's like, so the people doing this nonsense will claim that it is a business, therefore business is dirty, therefore I get to do this dirty ass shit within this environment, and it don't matter who get hurt. Why? Because business is dirty. So what they do is they rationalize it by saying that I make money off of this bullshit. Therefore,
business is dirty, therefore I am clean of everything that I say. And of course, you can't trust people like that.
But you're telling me outright before the business even starts between us that if I try to do any business with you, that you're gonna stab me in the back at the first instance of when you can.
No, it's kind of like you're not even signing the contract. You sat down to sign the contract, and he already stabbed you in one of your fucking hands and tell you that there's not going to be any more pain from this moment forward as you use your right hand to sign the contract with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, like, Dirty Mackin is obviously stupid, but this is even worse than that. They're giving information that they know is going to fuck people's lives up. And everybody is recirculating the same information around within the same environment.
With no proven track record.
No proven track record. No proof that it works.
No.
Nobody went on camera. That which can be asserted without evidence can be maintained without evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Very last thing, man, because I do got to head out. MOT, I just questioned.
Oh, something happened to SKC.
Hello. SKC, yeah. What happened? So you muted out or bugged out or something? It's always a good-ass SKC-based question that we
for online learning.
Wait a minute. Run that back again. Did you repeat that again?
Yeah, it was a black teacher. She redid the song WAP with her own lyrics to, I would guess, advertise or do some type of school spirit song about online learning. And she got a bunch of black girls in there dancing and popping and going on and cheerleader outfits and all this other junk. And she up on the desk and, doing her thing and all this other. And I'm like, good grief, man.
Oh my God. Rewording the songs to WAP in an educational setting? And teaching this shit to kids? Okay, SKC. Now I got a question for you. How much do you want? All this shit has happened within the last 120 days. More, dude, you probably got terabytes of clips from all this shit that's happening within the environment. How much more do you want?
Bro, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, I'm finishing up my vid now. I got slowed up. I don't know if you knew, man, but my daughter was born 2 days ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Nice, man. Oh yeah, congratulations, man.
Yeah, so 2:42 in the morning, September 9th. 6 pounds, nice. 11 ounces, man.
Oh,
so
nice, man. Congratulations.
I'm actually out with my dad now doing some stuff on his old property though. But I gotta head back in a little bit to go get back to my wife and kids, man. But yeah, I mean, yeah, man, I have so much stuff to use, man. I don't know. It's hard to arrange it all.
Well, that's game.
You want to make some super clip that could last like the rest of your life, but it's like, man, nobody gonna watch all this shit.
Oh man, nah, man. I think everybody's gonna like the next one, man. It's fun at the same time, informative, and then of course has my own brand of humor on stuff. But yeah, man. Mike, you take care, bro. MOC, I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all have at it, man.
Cool, man. All right, man.
Congratulations, bro.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, man, but this is just where we at, Mike. Where you gotta challenge this concept head on. Like if the boomer generation did this shit like in the late 70s, most of these kids wouldn't even be in this motherfucker. They wouldn't.
No. It's a shame that, because I didn't see Ramil's stream, so I don't know what was said on it. But the pushback that I've seen in the last few days has been, go outside and go talk to women. What type of strategy is that? What kind of strategy is that? Just go talk to them. With a mask.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Outside in a Batman uniform, telling you to go talk to women. Like what? What?
Yeah. Yeah. Smoking cigars. But the thing is, millennial and zennials don't need to be talking to women right now. They should be getting themselves in order.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That should be the strategy. Not this deception of dealing with uncultured women. I don't understand where the value is in having access to them. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because if the most unproductive male can have access to the womb of that said woman, what value does that really have for said male?
Anyone else who want to create a family or even want to have peace within the environment. And it's not like a singular thing. This is like most of the people in this environment embody these type of statistics.
Mm-hmm.
And how they kind of bullshit their way across it is by claiming that they got this sort of mastery of fucking game, which the only thing is being in actual environments that really doesn't suit you until you're actually trapped there and you can't get out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just, uncultured women having access to them. I'm not seeing the ROI on that.
No.
I'm not seeing the benefit of an uncultured woman. What is she bringing to the table? I'm not just socializing with them. You need a strategy for that. Wait.
No, but here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually around it and by it and near it, not actually in it. That's the actual problem here. There's no actual proof that they're engaging in anything other than trying to be their actual PR rep.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's kind of like, when you hear this chick talking about her Me Too story and she got Gloria Allred beside her and shit.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh, come on, man. Go get yourself a reputable attorney. Please don't have Gloria Allred around you when you're talking about this shit. And it's like, these are fucking Gloria Allred niggas, man. That's what it is.
Yeah. We got Judge Dre on the panel, man. Salute. Teach us something about some game here.
Yeah, man. Another unproductive guy, always at work and shit when he bees on panels. Yeah. Unproductive as shit.
All that shit.
Now, what'd you say, Nick, bro?
Yeah.
All
this unproductivity, repairing buildings and shit, making money. Man. How dare you not getting out there just using your mouthpiece to like scream through those goddamn buildings and fix it that way.
Man. Well, I'm gonna let you know the reason why they actually out there doing it that way is this. They realize that if the men ain't out here chasing these nappy-headed hoes, then they're not gonna get simped and give them their damn money. Because the retail industry is dying right now because motherfuckers ain't buying shit. They actually did a study that people are saving 38% more money now than ever. So like people ain't spending no money. So they got to get, but the way to make you spend money is to have a woman. Because most of the time the men, what do? They go out and spend money when they got a bra. And that's the reason, or they're giving money to a woman who what? Remember, think about it. How many of these brawls sitting up here can't pay their bills and shit like that? I'm sitting here, I'm in a neighbor's community. There's bitches on the damn neighbor's community thing talking about trying to get motherfuckers to pay their bills for them. And I'm like, what the fuck? You ain't got your stimulus check. You done been doing all this bullshit. How the hell you ain't got no, you know what I mean? It ain't like there was no relief for the people on child support. Them motherfuckers still went to jail or whatever. But I mean, you sitting up here and you can't pay your damn utilities and shit? Come on, man.
They never had to worry about that, though, Judge Ray. They never had to worry about that. There was always another dumb sucker and fool created by the same environment who was going to come in and actually do all that stuff for them.
Like I said here, I will admit this is a nice view from these offices here. Like, look at this office view right here.
Yeah. Nice.
Where's this?
Make a city look pretty good, don't it?
Yeah.
Is this Cincinnati or Cleveland?
It's Cleveland.
Nah, Cleveland. You go about 16 floors down.
Look. You don't see Yeah. You don't see that lake over there that caught on fire? You know?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
man. Hey, man, you're in the big money now, man. Working on that
I'm
commercial
trying
stuff,
to.
boy.
I'm trying to. Now, this is what I did. I'm actually working for this company here, but they hire independent contractors. And I done met two people that own skyscrapers here. So I'm trying to mingle in with them. So that's why I realized something. The best way to do it is networking. Get the people
Yeah.
liking
Oh, yeah.
you and all like that. They're going to want to hire you first. That's what I tell people.
And here's
That's
the
the only
thing,
reason why.
and
Do you
Judge Dre, you just
Mhm.
brought up something very key. You're not going to be able to game your way into networking. I mean, you can only do that among, dumbass black men. When you
Right.
go to these business environments, hey, man, they're going to want to see some tangibles, and you can't be out here on some reptile shit because nobody
Right.
wants to take a loss, man. Nobody is not trying to take no loss or any of that shit.
Right. I tell them all the time. I said, this is the thing. I mean, think about it. When you meet people, I'm doing this so I can meet people that own the building. I don't want to know the managers. I want to know the person who signed the checks. Those are the people you want to meet. Those are the people who can write a check. I mean, think about it. When you own one of these big ass buildings here, imagine how much money one of these buildings got to go for.
Oh, yeah. Whole thing? Shit.
Right, the whole thing. No, like I said, this guy owns two of them.
Oh, shit. Well, you're talking about 45, 50, sometimes $60 million a piece.
A piece, right? A
A
piece,
piece.
right? Probably, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's closer to 100.
Yeah. And it's like, you're looking at it like, I'm trying to tell people that practicing this shit ain't gonna do nothing but limit you to the same environment where the shit came from. You're gonna have to be able to practice different things to move up into other environments.
Mhm.
And if you take this game shit to another environment, man, you're gonna do nothing but look incredibly stupid. Like I've been to like defense industry parties where black men get escorted the fuck out because they're trying to talk to somebody's wife and shit. Did not know that's a senator's fucking wife that you try to talk to, man.
Well,
Your ass gotta
this
get
is
the fuck up out of here.
this
Yeah.
is one of the things is I was trying to tell my friends who I'm gonna be like, good, I'll get in good with the people. When they hire independent contractors to do certain parts of the work because sometimes it's just too much to have their people. So what they'll do is this. I get in with the people, I'll learn who everybody is, get everybody liking you as a friend, be nice to everybody. That way I see the other bids when they come in. So like if I had somebody that I can be like, hey dude, you need to go get on this job, I can tell you what everybody else's bid is. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's like, look, man, they only do business with their goddamn friends and people that they trust. And if you go
Right.
out there on some game shit where you trying to hustle somebody, like, dude, people don't respect that shit, man. People don't
Well, this is what
respect that shit at all.
I figure I'll work for you at least till April, May, once next year, and then break off and just do independent contract work.
Yeah. Because if you're the standard and they
All
like
right.
you and everybody who you hire is going to be just like you, that's how you get the
Mhm.
business. It's like that. That's how I fell into this shit right here.
Right.
I was
Because I ain't
already
gonna lie,
known and
I
already
took
did this
one
stuff
day
for a
off.
while. Yeah.
But listen to this. I took one day off because I was sick. I didn't even know these motherfuckers had like I was friends with another person in the building. The people had the person that knew that always talked to me called me and hold a conversation with me talking about we hope he didn't quit. Is he coming back to work?
Wow.
I think about instead of asking you that I was actually sick, but I mean they was worried about. I'm like, oh hell yeah, just to keep doing this shit for a couple more months and then break off and just do independent contracts and just be making a killing. Because the reason I can't stay working here because this job only pays $50,000 a year, and after child support, I'm making like $200 a week. You know what I mean? That ain't shit. Right. So I mean, so I can't stay in this position because it's just
Oh,
not
no
working.
doubt, man. So
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I figured go ahead and this is what I said. I'll go
Saying,
ahead and
man.
do this
But,
network. That way, boom, I'll be the main dude and I'll be getting cut off top. A lot easier to hide the money that way, because
oh
I
yeah.
don't even know how
Oh, yeah.
I'm paying more in child support now than I was 2 months ago. I was only paying like 11 something. Now I'm paying 15 something a month.
Yeah.
I'm like, how the hell my shit go up?
Yeah, man. Well, you have to. Yeah, you have to get around that by creating a company
Mhm.
and saying that you just work for this company and
Yep.
quote unquote you're the company. Yeah, well these are his wages. His wages are nothing. The child support gets lowered eventually. That's what my brother did.
Yeah, that's the only reason why. That's the only way you can get by. That's
Yeah.
the only way. I mean, I tell people all the time, I ain't gonna lie. Man, they put you on child support, you better go into your business for yourself. Because somehow
Yeah.
these motherfuckers
Immediately.
will make it
Immediately.
seem right. They will make it
Immediately.
seem like I'm sitting up here like they'll make it seem like you make it all. And I'm sitting up here, I said, now here's the question. I said, dude, I mean, considering that this is not, Cleveland is not a very expensive city to live in at all. It's real cheap to live here. But to think that a person could be making 50-something thousand dollars a year and not even be able to pay rent, that's fucked up.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
it's
Well,
like,
not
look,
let
man,
alone not utilities. I'm talking rent.
and like, how are
No
you
car
supposed
note,
to
no
stay productive?
insurance. Right. Because I ain't even
How
gonna
you
lie.
supposed to stay productive and build on your productivity when you got an entity who want to do some shit like that? Dude,
Mhm.
listen, man, the government should step in and shut this shit the fuck down.
Of
But at the
course.
end of the
But
day, man, they don't want to, and this is why I can't fuck with nobody in this fucking environment.
definitely.
I can't do that. No, I'm good on
But
that.
this is the problem too. They got to keep the money coming into the government. Will like this. They got to keep the money coming into the system. They got
I mean,
all them
you can
government
have way
jobs
more
and shit
money
that
with
come
male
across.
productivity. No,
No,
you can
but
get more
they
money
got to.
off of male productivity than male fucking poaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
yeah, that's what the thing is. All right, man. Well, let me get back to the pro, man. You got any last words before we get up out of here?
Oh no. No, man. I just wish I would have caught the show earlier.
Oh, okay. I mean, we had a good
Yeah.
little stream about, what's going on within the environment. So it's like this game shit got to go because a lot of these niggas and it's niggas. It ain't no decent black man who's trying to hide behind the game moniker shit. It's nothing but niggas who's trying to fucking do this shit. And that's why I'm like, look, man, you got to be able to cut this shit off and be like, look, if you bring the way you act around this woman in every other aspect of your fucking life, you're going to constantly be behind, dude. So find yourself another actual thing to operate off of. Because trying to be this non-defined chameleon class motherfucker in every single situation ain't going to do nothing but fuck your life up eventually.
Well, yeah. The game thing is this. What are you getting? Getting game to what? Sell yourself into a life of slavery. We got Joe Biden about to be president and overcharging Harris. You got Crime Bill Biden and over prosecuting Harris about to be in the office. I said, as soon as first thing they're gonna do is give these people some programs. A lot of people don't realize when they give your ass a program, somebody got to pay for that shit. So either the prison company's gonna pay for it, so they're gonna make laws to put more people in jail, or they're gonna take it out on the fathers or something. I said, you don't realize every time they give you a free program, somebody paying for that shit. They got to make the money back somewhere.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, we gotta get these young dudes on some different shit because they hear all these niggas who they think are fucking cool talking about this clown ass shit. Like, nah, man, them niggas have fucked their life up and they're trying to fuck yours up too. Right along
Well,
the
I
same
mean,
lines they fuck their shit up.
but they don't realize a woman is a bill. A woman ain't no damn asset. That's a bill. That's something to take care of. I mean,
And so they're trying to make it look like I spent no time gaining this fucking liability, and there ain't gonna be further liabilities with having this motherfucker around. I'm like, hey man, that shit's dumb as fuck.
right. I mean, your truck that you paid $200,000 for, that's an asset.
Yeah.
That pulls in money. I mean, this is more women spend more money than they make. I
Always.
mean,
That's always the case.
I said that's the reason why. That's the reason why they keep that. That's why they'll never let men get the children, never do all that. This because they realize if men had the children, they'd be more frugal, less spending. They gotta keep the spending up. You spend more money than you make. All these broad talk, this, that, and the other. You don't realize, dude. You just signing yourself up for somebody else's bill. Go ahead and get your shit together. Make some company. All of you right now do not need to be chasing no damn women. You need to find your
Not
niche
at
and
all.
capitalize. This is the reason why they want you chasing the women doing the dumb shit. Why all of their friends is sitting up here taking advantage of all these business opportunities about to pop up. Message.
Yeah.
Get out here and
That's the
make some
thing,
money.
man. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about, man, because we got to break up this fucking shit before we end up fucking up somebody else's life. You know, there's a lot of dudes out there who wish they can, like SKC said, they wish they can get that nut back. Now they on the hook for 18 to 23 years of fucking shit when they should have been better off tricking and getting the fuck out of there.
Definitely.
Would have been
They don't
better
believe
off.
me. If
Less
they don't
time
believe me,
investment.
they can look at my child support payments any month. Hey, say, Drake, let me see your paperwork. I'll show it to you. I'll trust me, dude. That's all that money going out of the household. And you watch, they ain't spending on shit. The kids
You
still
can't
call you and
spend.
ask you
You
for
can't
shit.
spend. You can't invest.
Right.
You can't build your own shit. You can't hire more people. You can't do any of that shit. You
Mhm.
can't even expand.
Yep.
So,
Like I said, they rather sit and what's so bad you watch. You're like, wow, you rather spend it on some damn shoes or something that's gonna wear out. But yet you ain't want, hey man, why don't you do this or do they ain't trying to do none of that shit.
hey man, but
They're
these,
not,
I'm just saying, look, they obviously ain't got shit to fucking show for it. So I'm like, look, it's better off that we just had these motherfuckers up here and just hold their feet to the motherfucking fire. That's it. That's all you can do now. So, all right, man. Well, let me get up out of here, man. Thanks for coming on, Judge Ray.
all right, man.
All right, and for everybody else watching, thank y'all for coming through. About this issue and topic, man. The shit is nothing but an art of constant deception with no real definition. That's what the fuck game is. And these motherfuckers didn't win the game. They're still playing the motherfucking game. There's no scoreboard, but they still fucking losing. The shit's a fucking crock of shit. So what I'm saying is that don't practice this shit within your own life, man. Make sure that if you are practicing some shit within your own life, you actually have some tangibles with the shit, so that way you can better identify the track record to which you're actually dealing with. Otherwise, you'll be like these dumbass motherfuckers around here asserting victory when they clearly don't have any. So I want to thank you guys for coming through. I'm the man tomorrow. Um, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like and comment in the chat about how you felt about the issue of the day. And y'all guys have a nice one, man.